Hi, this is George Marshall, and I'm starting a new web series. And we're going to call it It At Vivs. How's that? I'm a part owner here at Vivians Cafe. It's a family group that works this business, and we've worked it for about 20 years. And I've ended up meeting an awful lot of different people that come in here. And so I just thought maybe it would be a good combination of reality and interviewing some of the people that come in here. We've had big name actors, female and male. We've had basketball players that are well known, world famous, football, baseball. I've always found it fascinating in regards to people and how they get to be where they are and how they get to be the best baseball player or the best basketball player, and in their travel through their life to become the best. And I always thought that would be interesting to hear them talk about it, because I don't think any of us would ever know otherwise if we didn't sit down and talk to somebody. And I suppose none of this would matter in regards to talking to these people if you didn't know a little bit about me and where I came from and how I got here, which has been a long road. I'm 76, so I've been around and doing different things for a really long time. So let's start off with briefly in New Hampshire in 1943, I was born. My mother, she had me out of wedlock, and she left me at the hospital for the marshals to pick me up about a month later, and I was, their child. I didn't know I was adopted till I was about 33 years old. I went back to the Exeter hospital to get another birth certificate, and they said there wasn't any George Marshall born in 1943. And I went, whoa. So I went to the courthouse, and they couldn't find me. And so I asked my mother, and she broke down and cried and told me that I was adopted, and she always wanted to tell me. And I went, oh God, that's great, now I know. I was very happy over it, because I knew there was always something different, and I was quite happy to find out that I was adopted. And because I always felt like I didn't belong with the Marshalls, that there was something different, something wrong. I can remember one time when I was being punished for doing something like getting dirty outside, playing in a dirt pile, and I got really pissed off, and I told my parents, I says, you're not my parents. I just don't believe I belong here. There's something wrong. So that kind of shocked them, in the fact that they knew and I didn't know. My upbringing, I was an only child, and so I lived a very secluded life. My mother and father lived with her father, my grandfather, and he was a pretty cranky old guy, and he didn't want children around, so I pretty much grew up by myself. Most of the time I spent a lot of time alone. I lived down the street from a library and a fire station that had a play yard, and I used to go down there and play. I'd be by myself, or I'd be in the library reading books. I read all the classics, and they was interesting, and so I guess I didn't relate to any of them in regards to my life. They were just very interesting reading, and I never thought much about it, as far as my life and whether or not it was fine or it should be better. I mean, I always thought there was something wrong, but I just thought I was just living life. Life was the way it was. I always thought my thinking process was definitely different than most other kids my age. I saw life, completely different. My parents were religious. The whole family was religious, but I never took up religion because it just didn't really make much sense to me compared to everybody else. A lot of people are filled with goals and purposes, and I never had any goals and purposes. I just was kind of like living life on a daily basis. School was, just something to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I got older, and I got into engineering, went to school to be an engineer, but it wasn't like it was a goal. I was living in Fort Lauderdale with my sons, and I had two bookcases, and I had them full with astrology books, self-help books, all the psychology books you could imagine. And I just started reading them and looking for a solution to my problems. The best way to put it is, you got something wrong and it's bothering you in your mind, right? But you don't know what it is, and you don't know how to solve the problem that's in your mind. And so I just started, looking at all the self-help books, and I ended up finding Scientology, and it was like coming home. It was like exactly what I was looking for. Everything was solved. You keep Scientology working by doing it exactly the way it was designed to develop. It works every time. It works on almost anyone. It depends on your ability. It depends on whether or not you want to get it, how bad you want to get it, how bad you want to make changes. It's drastic, the changes. The changes can be quick and drastic. You can go from having a problem one moment to not having that problem in a matter of hours. In truth, when I look back upon it, say 10 or 20 years ago, I realized that it was something that I always wanted to do. And I was always looking for it and didn't know where it was or what it was, but I knew when I found it that would be it. I think I could be an awful lot better person than I am. I don't think I'm that kind and loving as I should be. I don't think other people think I am either. I've never thought I was that good of a father or a husband or a good friend to anybody, because I've always grown up to be independent. I think what defines me most, all the way from the beginning, is that just being a complete individual, not being, part of a group, not caring to be, part of a group. I mean, I can sit for hours and read a book, or go on YouTube and watch, the things that are on YouTube, and be quite happy.